He was 65 years old, broke, and living on a 105 Social Security check. Most people would have given up. But this man turned his secret fried chicken recipe into a global empire. He was 65 years old, an age when most people are planning to slow down, an age when the world tells you your time for big dreams is over. He had very little money to his name. All he had was a small Social Security check for about $100. It was barely enough to survive. But this man, Harland Sanders, had something more valuable than money. He had a secret. It was a recipe for fried chicken, a special blend of 11 herbs and spices, perfected over many years. Harland's life was never easy. It was filled with struggle from the very beginning. He was born in a small town in Indiana. When he was just a little boy, his father passed away. This tragedy changed everything. His mother had to go to work to support the family. It was up to young Harland, the oldest child, to take care of his younger brother and sister. This is where his journey with food began. At just 7 years old, he learned how to cook. He learned to bake bread. He learned to prepare vegetables. He learned to make meals for his family, a responsibility that shaped his entire life. As he grew up, he wore many, many hats. He never shied away from hard work. He left home as a teenager to find his way in the world. He worked on a farm. He served for a short time in the United States Army. He worked as a steamboat pilot. He worked as a railroad fireman. He worked as a lawyer for a little while. He tried selling insurance. He tried selling tires. You name it, he probably tried it. Each failure made him a little stronger. But through it all, he kept moving forward. In the middle of his life, around the age of 40, Harland found a little bit of stability. He was running a service station in a small town in Kentucky. It was right on a busy highway, a place where tired and hungry travelers would often stop. Harland saw an opportunity. He knew how to cook. He knew people needed a good meal on the road. So he started serving food from his own dining room table. He offered simple, hearty meals to the folks passing through. It was nothing fancy, just good, honest food made with care. And people loved it. The most popular dish on his menu was his special fried chicken. This was not just any chicken. This was the recipe he had been working on since he was a boy. He had found the perfect combination of 11 herbs and spices. He also developed a unique way to cook it using a pressure cooker, which made the chicken moist on the inside, crispy on the outside, and it was fast. His little roadside stop became famous for its delicious chicken. People started coming not just for gas, but specifically for a meal. His reputation for quality and hospitality grew. His small business, which he called Sanders Court and Cafe, became so successful that he was able to expand. The government planned a new interstate highway, I-75. This new road bypassed his town completely. Suddenly, the steady stream of travelers that had been his lifeblood disappeared. The cars were all on the new highway, miles away. His business began to dry up almost overnight. The seats in his restaurant were empty. He tried to hold on, but he could not fight the changing times. At an age when he should have been enjoying his success, he was forced to sell his business at a loss and was left nearly broke. At 65 years old, Harland Sanders found himself back at square one. All he had was that small monthly Social Security check and his unshakable belief in his chicken recipe. He was heartbroken. He had lost the business he had spent decades building. But in that moment of despair, a new idea was born. If people could no longer come to his restaurant, he would take his restaurant to them. He decided to travel the country and try to franchise his recipe. He would teach other restaurant owners how to make his chicken, and in return, they would pay him a small fee for every piece they sold. So he packed his pressure cooker and his secret blend of herbs and spices into the back of his car. He put on his distinctive white suit and black string tie. He went from town to town, restaurant to restaurant. He would walk in, meet the owner, and make his pitch. He offered to cook his chicken for them and their staff right there in their own kitchen. He was confident that once they tasted it, they would be convinced. He was selling not just a recipe, but a dream. He faced rejection after rejection. Restaurant owners were skeptical. They looked at this older man in his white suit and did not see a visionary. They saw a desperate salesman. They told him no. They said his idea would never work. They said they already had their own fried chicken. He slept in his car to save money. He ate his own chicken to prove how good it was. He heard the word no over and over again. Some say he was rejected over 1,000 times. Can you imagine hearing no 1,000 times? Most people would have given up after the first 10 no's, or maybe the first 100. But Harland Sanders was not most people. Every rejection seemed to fuel his determination. He kept knocking on doors. He kept making his pitch. He kept believing. He knew, deep in his soul, that his chicken was special. He knew that if he could just get one person to say yes, it could change everything. This was his last push. After countless miles on the road and an ocean of rejections, he finally walked into a restaurant in Salt Lake City, Utah. The owner was a man named Pete Harmon. Like all the others, Pete was hesitant at first. But something about this persistent colonel was different.
He listened to the pitch.
He watched Harland cook the chicken, and then he tasted it. In that moment, everything changed. Pete Harmon loved the chicken. He knew his customers would love it too.
He said yes.
That was the one yes Harland had been searching for. Pete Harmon became the very first Kentucky Fried Chicken franchisee. He put Kentucky Fried Chicken on his menu, and it was an instant sensation. People lined up to get a taste of this amazing new chicken. Word began to spread like wildfire. Pete's success made it easier for Harland to convince other restaurant owners. Suddenly, people were not just listening, they were eager to sign up. More and more restaurants started adding his chicken to their menus, and each one paid him his small royalty. From that one small agreement, a global empire was born. The idea of franchising the recipe was brilliant. It allowed the brand to grow incredibly fast without Harland building every restaurant himself. He traveled tirelessly, visiting franchisees, ensuring they were making the chicken the right way, maintaining the high quality he demanded.